So as you guys know, State of Decay 3 is still some time away from seeing a release. As we found out over a month ago, the game is still in pre-production, but some new information about a recent job posting at Undead Labs, guys, is the most intriguing of them all. It's an eye-opener to say the least, as I think we are getting a huge hint at some pretty big things. If you're new here, subscribe as I cover all things State of Decay 2 and 3 related. Also hit that thumbs up. With that, before we get started, this video is sponsored by Opera GX, and this is the world's first browser specifically for gamers and hardcore gamers like us who like having the most optimum quality and control we can have. GX Control gives us that with the power of using a CPU limiter or even a RAM limiter, especially when you're getting in a session with State of Decay 2 and you need that extra juice towards your game. There's also a network limiter so you can keep your optimal settings for the best online play. But what is really neat is the fact that you can even run Discord, Twitch, or even things like Twitter within this browser, really limiting the amount of pesky apps and pages you need to keep open on your PC. But my favorite thing to do with Opera GX is play State of Decay 2 with xCloud directly in this awesome browser and experience that intensity of surviving the apocalypse, all with the magic of directly playing through Opera GX and xCloud. Let's also talk about GX Player that plays your playlist from Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube Music in the background while getting in a gaming session with State of Decay 2. And finally, let's talk the newest feature like Opera GX now available via mobile, a great way to continue the awesome perks that you get, even GX Corner, all with the touch of your phone. Opera GX is truly an incredible browser for us gamers. Join me by downloading Opera GX and using it as your main browser by clicking that link in the description or in the comments. Doing so supports the channel and it's completely free to use. You guys have nothing to lose by doing this. Give it a shot, and special thanks to Opera GX for being today's sponsor. So in a recent video, we talked about how former head of Undead Labs, Jeff Strain, came out with a recent quote on how State of Decay 3 is well on its way to achieving its ultimate goal. We know his vision in the past, about a decade ago for the franchise, was that the game was going to be an MMO. That actually quickly got shut down when I recently asked directly the current State of Decay 2 design director, Jeffrey Card. He told me on one of his live streams that the MMO vision is definitely not in the cards. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to record this message because I kind of just believed what he said, and I somewhat figured more than likely he's right, because I mean, this game's really never been anything like that. But this new listing, guys, is showing some hints of some big multiplayer plans, and boy does it shock me. Now that doesn't mean that State of Decay 3 is going to be an MMO, but let's take a look. So this new job listing's for a principal systems designer, and there's a lot that they are looking for, and it gives hints on what types of things we might see with State of Decay 3. And because I was so surprised by this job listing, I called on a friend who's been in the gaming industry for decades with one of the top publishers in the world. He's a development director, and I had him take a look at this since he's better at reading this stuff than I am. First thing he says is this is a senior design role, mostly looking at the economy of the game, so things like how much resources could be needed to build a base, things of that nature, and those things are currently what we see in State of Decay 2, so that makes a lot of sense. But what he highlighted is the same thing that really caught my eye as well and took me by surprise. Here it says skills in economy design, live ops experience, and balancing interconnected systems. Now the live ops role suggests that this game could have a very multiplayer driven system, and the economy of it will play a part in that system, of course. Then you scroll down on this same job and you see this line here. It says experience with the design of online games or games as a service, including player retention mechanics and live game system balance / maintenance. Guys, again, this is a job listing for what looks like a senior role at Undead Labs for State of Decay 3. So this would be a high up position, and they want experience with someone with these online portions. Now my friend tells me this actually does to him looks like an MMO, but then I went ahead and I told him what Jeffrey Carr just recently has said to me, and I asked him directly on a live stream because I really wanted to know myself, and then he said maybe this could just be a live service game, and to think of a game like Destiny that technically isn't an MMO but does have those online portions. Ultimately, this job listing though tells me that multiplayer is going to play a part in the next game, and that makes sense to a degree. Currently, State of Decay 2 has the ability to play multiplayer, but really someone is just coming into your world and they really aren't a permanent fixture to that. So my guess is that this could change in the next game and multiplayer could be expanded to where players actually fit and integrate into your world, and therefore you would need an economy balancing at that point. Now, I'm not convinced that State of Decay 3 is going to be an MMO at all, because the core experience of this franchise is how it has stood out as an amazing post-apocalyptic survival game as a single-player experience with the ability to jump into multiplayer if you wanted to, and that niche has been cornered very well by Undead Labs. Heck, even in the same job listing, it mentions partner with game directors to realize broader franchise and story goals. So again, story elements will still be heavily involved, which we have seen with other recent job postings. But one thing seems to be clear, guys, is that this next game is one that will be running for a long time. Things here that say define, refine, champion State of Decay 3's progression and reward systems in service of both of our existing and our future audience, and then couple the fact that they're looking for big experience for online game or games with a service, which to me means they want players hooked for a long time. Another thing to note, games as a service isn't shocking because more than likely this game's going to be on Xbox Game Pass, so always being an online game doesn't come to a surprise to me, and if that happens, again, I won't be shocked. But I will say that the more I keep seeing, the more and more I think this game just has huge ambitions, and it's why it's still in pre-production today. And I want to show this last line in the job listing that says shipped at least one AAA title as a content designer. So I reiterate that State of Decay 3 is very much going to be a AAA title, and you can tell this by the more and more information that continues to come out. And boy, guys, I don't know how this multiplayer, the portion of the game, is going to look, but I want to say I'm super intrigued, and that's an understatement. I mean, what do you guys think they're going to do? Will we see a much bigger multiplayer online presence in the game? And how would you guys like to see that implemented? Again, guys, tell me all that down below in the comments. With that, subscribe and thumbs up. I'm Sunny, and as always, stay safe, survivors.